Told y'all, we got the game on lock. Crank Lucas the rap deucer. Team Real Racing. Y'all already know we won. Off-road racing, quickest in the desert. To the finish line, passing through the checkers. It's Team Real, we just much better. When we on the track, we apply that pressure. People lined up screaming from the sideline. When they see the UT class fly by, or they see me in the truck doing drive-bys, in the Parker Dam or in the Baja. Every time you see me rolling through inside a buggy, and I'm counting up the money, cause I came to multiply it. Push a 1200 horsepower in the motor, you don't really wanna race me, I dare you to try it. Started up the engine, now my wheels on fire. Zooming through the track while I'm running up the rubber. Better get them slow waves out of my water. You don't wanna see the shark or there's a crusher. It's Team Real, y'all know what the biz. Crank Lucas and I'm spinning on the wheel. Doing 160 past you so fast when the wind hits your body get the chills. Telling everybody they can eat my dust, but I guarantee you won't beat my best. Popping champagne when I'm at the finish line and I'm holding up the trophy and I beat my chest. What first place look like it's me? I don't do twos and I never met a three. People know the Team Real logo when I'm running through the desert and I'm running all through the streets. Never have to cap my race game tight. My vehicles can go all night. Foot up on the gas, I can never break right because I'm allergic to all the red lights. Team Real, Team Real. Everybody thinking that they faster till they gotta race. Team Real, Team Real. All about the speed and you can see it all up in my face. Team Real, Team Real. Real scared money don't make no money. It's Team Real, Team Real. Hit the motor rumble and the tires burning from the rubble. Team Real, Team Real. Everybody thinking that they faster till they gotta race. Team Real, Team Real. All about the speed and you can see it all up in my face. Team Real, Team Real. Real scared money don't make no money. It's Team Real, Team Real. Hit the motor rumble and the tires burning from the rubble.
You want to know what's going on in your dirt sports world? Whether it's four wheels, two wheels, Dirt Sports World's got you covered. From the dirt to the dunes, we bring you the latest action in racing, to lifestyle, the newest parts, the newest vehicles, and what the superstars of off-road are up to. Check out our social media for up-to-date information on Instagram, Facebook, Dirt Sports World, and more in depth. And check out the magazine at www.dirtsportsworld.com. And don't forget to check out our YouTube channel, Dirt Sports World, for some great videos. So make sure to follow us and come get dirty with us.
Once again, reigning supreme, Connor Barry, the three-time iRacing Short Course National Series champion.
One thing I would like to tell my competitors is the job is not done yet.
You can see that Luke Canutt wants to end the season on a high, did not want the fight to end like this.
Second place on championship, but that's not over yet.
But the championship leaders banging and rubbing doors on the run towards the line. Oh. Connor Barry tried everything. Experience from the real world to the virtual as well, because then Dashley makes a mistake.
It's going to be a new Dashlette this year, so hopefully this means that I'll be running up front more.
and history made. Team Gold and Briley on top.
One thing I'd like to tell all the competitors for 2025 is watch out, Team Gold's coming.
The 2-year wait for victory lane may continue for Keaton Swain.
Winning is important. You know, I show up to win, so obviously winning is everything.
Don't have anything.
After a week away, it's time to return to the iRacing Short Course Pro 4 National Series grind as we head to the Crandon International Raceway, but to its short configuration for another one of our regular season rounds. Welcome along to coverage presented by Team Real Racing and APV Simulators. I'm Junior Kankapati in the broadcast. We're joined as always by the voice of off-road, Dave Arnold. And Dave, a couple of weeks ago, we had another one of our Triple Crown events at the Wild West Motorsports Park, but we returned to Crandon with the more normal event format as we head to the final stages of the championship fight.
Yeah, I tell you, that Triple Crown was so cool. I mean, all the things we've done this year, Long Beach, you know, go to Reno, but boy, talk about moving to the bull ring, the short course at Crandon, never disappoints. It's always quick, fast, and good racing.
Here's a look at that schedule. We've got a back-to-back header of Crandon and Bark River, the longer tracks on the schedule before a couple of weeks away. We return with Firebird Motorsports Park and then a return to the Big House for what will hopefully be a championship showdown in what has been a quite blistering campaign. Started Feb 12th, will end on May 21st, all leading us into the Pro 2 National Series later this summer. Here's the championship standings though, because he's been king of the series for quite a while now, and Connor Barry just continues to build up his gap from Luke Canup, now almost 47 points between the two of them.
Yeah, this is definitely, it's been a tight battle, but Connor, he's definitely been shining out there. Luke Canup, though, he always comes out swinging, so I expect some good things from him. He's always good at the Crandon short course out there. And Keaton Swain, what can I say? He's due.
He is due indeed. Rest of the drivers still relatively close as well in their own respective fights, and relatively important for some drivers at the closing stages of the championship, maybe just to grab a race victory. Let's talk team standings though, because you see there's a couple of big names represented in that top 10 of the driver standings, and a couple of breakaways at the top here. Channel 199, Factory Sim Sport, there's 35 between them, not separated too far though from Team Gold Esports and Racecraft Academy as well.
Yeah, definitely. This is definitely with the heat. The teams are just battling. You know, it's not only getting the victories out there, but also having some teammates get some better scores, get those points up there, because there's kind of like 2 championships up for grab on this one.
And so, with our look through the championship standings done, let's dive into the race format for tonight. Qualifying just moments away from getting underway. Drivers get 10 minutes and 4 laps, so we'll see probably some of the drivers wait till the end of the time session to head out there and finish up their lap allotments. They'll be then split up into 4 heats, and there are some points for those finishing first and second, but the top 4 advance directly to the main event and avoid the scramble that is an LCQ. 2 of them each, top 2 to advance from both, and 6 laps before we get underway for a 20-lap main event where, of course, let's not forget, Dave, the competition caution at the end of lap number 9 will bunch the field up.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's my favorite time, is competition caution. It's always that race within the race. It's going to make it exciting. And this format always just works so well, you know, with this, you know, short course racing. You don't do it in any other sports that we know of. I've never seen it before, except in short course, but definitely it makes for an exciting race. And so
with 2 Triple Crown events in the books, only a couple of rounds left in the championship. Here's a look at our power rankings. New onto the board for Trenton Briley, with Josh Edmondson +5, Zachary Drapkin +3. Some good showings for them at Wild West. For the likes of Winnicki, Mittag, and Countryman, hoping to bounce back and move themselves back up the board. Love these power rankings, by the way. Always gives us a sense for who to keep an eye on as we get set to go. As mentioned, though, qualifying is going to get underway, and the drivers will get set. Those are some of the drivers just waiting to go. 4 wins on the season so far for Connor Barry. You saw the 4 medals behind him as well.
Oh yeah, Connor's been on a tear for sure, but there's a couple drivers expecting some great things. Of course, I mentioned Keaton Swain, but I think the exciting thing is Nicholas Dachelet and Josh Edmondson tie back and forth. These two are going to be looking at each other. I mean, I expect these two, if they get close to each other, there's going to be a definite battle on.
Absolutely. I'll quickly just point out, when it comes to our World Finals, we're building up to something new later on this year in the world of iRacing short course. Not just Connor Barry locked in with a couple of wins, but Drake Mittag and Matt Adams, as previous race winners this season, have also locked themselves in for the World Finals. That was a look, by the way, at Josh Edmondson, who is racing from APV simulators, being thrown around by the motion rig, hoping he doesn't go flipping up and over, because that will be a fun ride.
Oh, he's definitely getting a ride. You can see that, how it mimics. I mean, this is like Mr. Dew's Wild Ride. You just got to love it, and you're flying, you're feeling every bump, every little nudge, and the air time, and a little weightless every once in a while. Always makes for an exciting ride.
Drivers are still in practice, by the way, so not yet flipped the flag over for qualifying, so they're just getting some final moments. That does seem as though it's early morning, so maybe we'll see the sun progressively move around as well as we work our way through the 4 heat races, 2 LCQs, and into that 20-lap main event. Good to be back at Crandon, albeit at the short layout, which I know Dave has more detractors than it does fans.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, Crandon it's one that doesn't disappoint. It's everybody's bucket list to go to Crandon, to be it, to race it, and to experience it. And if you've never been, this is as close you can get. You got to go if you see this in real life. It will blow your mind. How many people are there, and the party that goes on that is off-road.
Drivers have just been told qualifying getting underway. You saw the red number plate as well for Connor Barry, the number 2 machine, denoting our championship leader. Remember, 47 points his advantage. He's nearing a number that mathematically would lock him in as champion before the end of the season. But we're still hoping when we return to Crandon on May 21st, there is a championship fight. There is the driver that is headed out to Wheatland next week to race in the real world. A shame that we can't do that on iRacing just yet, but hashtag soon. It has been coming, as we've been told, for many a year. 10 minutes thrown onto the clock, and here we go for qualifying. Is Connor going to go out there right away, or is he going to wait and let the rest of the field set the benchmark first?
I think, Connor, because the nice thing is you don't have to run all your laps at once. Maybe you go out, throw one down, see how that kind of does, and then you got to set your benchmark, and then it's like, all right, it's on like Donkey Kong now.
And that's Wes Graham heading out there. I was commentating on him this Saturday on the Porsche All-Star, so it was great to see Wes make an appearance on the Porsche Twitch channel. He did admit it was a bit awkward to be on tarmac and have some grip, so back to something a little bit more normal for him as he gets ready to go for that first lap in qualifying.
Yeah, we've had a lot, like Casey Mears when he come out, and I remember the first time, he's driven in the desert and stuff, but the first time he came and raced at Crandon, he goes, there's not a lot of grip out there, is there? Like, no. You expected, all right, I'm going to turn. Well, I'm still going straight. And that's the thing you got to learn. It's not like, all right, turn the wheel and gas it. Yeah, you'll turn a little bit, but you got to back off. You got to play with that throttle a little bit to get these things to rotate.
And this is where, as we ride on board with Wes, the short layout differentiates itself from the long. You go left out of the opening complex of the lap, and you shortcut effectively the long run out of the back straightaway, where the drivers will still start on their land rush 10 wide formation, just only using that though for that very little brief moment of time. Luke Knop's currently second on the board, about a 10.5 back from Nicholas Dachelet's provisional pole time, but with only 8 times, still waiting for the majority of the field and to slap down some sort of benchmark. Wes the Mess, the first lap time was a 43.123. Second lap time around, no improvement. It's actually slightly slower, 43.637. Interesting to note that he elected to reset after the second timed attempt.
It's good to see Matt Adams out there sitting around 7th right now, move back to 8th, but, known for the asphalt, like we were saying the opposite. Now he's getting back to the dirt, and seems like he's adapted pretty well so far.
Adam McAfee in VR with Batman watching over him as ever. Sean Winkler's gone to second, by the way, so he's been running very, very strong the last couple of weeks. Adam McAfee has just slid himself up into 5th, but there's a bit more of a margin through the field right now than maybe you'd expect. There's still, I'd count 15, maybe just over that, maybe 20 drivers yet to put themselves onto the board. We're watching the 909 slide its way forward. So that's Brody DeShore in the Iridium SimSport truck, hoping we'll get a benchmark from him at the line. Remember, 42.686 to beat. And Nicholas Dachelet, Sean Winkler, and Luke Knupp all watching from pit lane. Don't think it's going to challenge pole. Never mind. Yes, it will. 42.469 for Winicki. Brody DeShore to 4th.
Yeah, I saw that little grin from Winicki right now as we're looking at it on camera. He knows. He's like, oh, yeah, that was a good lap. So that's pretty interesting. We're going to see right now it's, gosh, is that Zach Drapkin going out there, I believe?
Yep, good call. Zach. In the Redline All 56, the Racecraft Academy backed entry. Remember, 42.469 now to be on the board. Drapkin's not going to break into the 42s, though. 43.015, currently outside the top 10. And remember, the further back you are in the qualifying order, you get filtered further back in your respective heat. Top 4 will advance. So as long as you qualify in the top 16, you'll start in a position that takes you directly to the main event.
Yeah, that's what you want to do is, fighting your way to the main event's never a fun time out there. And you can see a lot of the other drivers, they put like I said, they put those laps in, they're going to keep an eye out. But there's a limited time you can do this. You just don't have an infinite time to qualify. So you got to make sure you get out there and do it. And it's, of course, one at a time, but it's in your own virtual time, I should say. It's not like they say, okay, there's only one guy running, you can't go run right now.
That would make things a little... It would be a bit more interesting that way. Pressure would build up. That was... couldn't quite tell who was jumping forward initially. Mason Prater's now, though, jumped up to 3rd as he launches the truck into the air. Doesn't need it after that impressive lap time. He'll get one more attempt if he wants to. Connor Barry has not ventured out onto track just yet, so he's been sitting and waiting. Half the session's already done and dusted. Here comes Keaton Swain, waiting for him to punch himself up into the board as well. This is his first timed attempt as he sweeps his way out of the long left-hander.
Let's see. I mean, he is such an incredible driver. The problem is everybody stepped up to his level. And, we watched him. He would dominate for a while. But now, I mean, there's 15 guys out there and gals that could come within, a tenth or a thousandth of a second. That's what's so crazy about it now.
So first up is going to be Keaton Swain to set his lap time, but Connor Barry has ventured out and will get onto the board as well. Thad Countryman's just jumped up to 2nd. This is the visor cam with the championship leader. Each of the medals over the shoulder represents a win so far this season. Keaton Swain bailed actually on the first lap time. He did not think it was worth trying to set it, so he's set back up now for another attempt. In the air and in towards Calamity Corner, though, for the championship leader. Tries to hug it in tight, unleash all 900 horsepower on the short run to the line, and it's not going to be pole. That's a 42.725, but it's good enough to jump to 4th, pole position for heat number 4.
But then again, that was his first run, so let's see what he could do. Keaton Swain going out for another one now, trying to better his time. Expect Keaton to get, up into the top 3. He's usually pretty fast. He's good at the technical stuff.
Christopher Plumley jumped to 2nd, so Barry now down to 5th, and he did instantly head back to pit lane, not electing to go out there immediately for a second timed attempt. He's just rolling back out there once again. Here comes Keaton, though, in that 21, the factory SimSport with SimCoach's white and yellow entry. Does a very good job of keeping that tight, at least compared to what Connor did. Don't think it's challenging pole. 42.710, which puts him a couple of thousandths quicker than Connor. 5th on the board, and he's going to keep running out there with 3 minutes left on the clock.
And that's exactly what I was saying. Thousandths of a second. And here we're going back to 5th, 6th, and 7th place. That's pretty gnarly.
It's, as ever, super competitive through the field. I was saying before, the margin's not that tight. Now 4/10 covers that top 16 that we were talking about slightly earlier. Here comes the Terminator. He is the only driver yet to put himself onto the board, but with a 42.823, that will punch himself up into the top 10, I was going to say, but no, it's only the top 15. That's how tight the field is.
Yeah, that's just incredible. Just seeing how close it is. And seeing drivers like Luke Canutt back in 10th and, Barry deep in the field too. It's kind of crazy. Well, as I say that, he went swinging with a second fastest so far. But Plumley with a great run there, sitting in third with Countryman fourth. Dachelet rounding out that top 5.
And now Connor Barry has used up all his attempts, so that's him done for qualifying. It's going to mean Cody Winicki's got one less driver to worry about, but I can tell you that Plumley, Dachelet, and Keaton Swain all still have lap times yet to use. Edmondson's got company now as well. I will say, I was always terrible with company to the point where when my parents were staying with me and I was doing some somewhat serious sim racing, endurance sim racing, not dirt sim racing, I would tell them to leave my apartment so they wouldn't distract me during my races.
Looks like a bodyguard back there. That's awesome. They got to guard all those awesome sims.
That's a good point, actually. There's a wry smile, I think, there from Edmondson. Not sure if he tagged the inside wall. Lap time does count, 43.367, but remember, new setup for him, new simulator. Gonna probably take a while to get accustomed to it. He's probably down towards the back. Dachelet to third, Swain to fourth, some late improvements, but we're heading into that time where drivers have got to head out on track and get their final lap time started because time ticking down, 70 seconds left to go.
You just brought up a good point right there. First, getting used to the sims. It's one thing just to be stationary and moving. Now imagine moving around, shifting gears, hitting your mud muncher, turning the wheel, hitting your brakes, pedals, and it's like patting your head and rubbing your tummy.
And Josh is someone that we've talked about it, usually races in VR, so he's probably also getting adjusted back to what looked like some sort of a monitor in front of him, whether it's triples,
yes,
an ultra wide or whatever. Another complexity to add. That's the long left-hand sweeper. Remember, the difference between the short and long layouts here at Crandon, we will still have that 10 wide start. We're watching Christopher Plumley. So he's 5th right now. That would put him 2nd in Heat 1, but with 20 seconds left on the clock, is he going to get back around to finish this lap? Because once the clock strikes 0, that is it. Qualifying done and dusted in the books, and you're yoinked off the track. There's a look at a driver in virtual reality, and as the seconds tick away, it's going to be too little too late. Plumley stuck in 5th.
Man, and he had that second spot for a while, so he's got the speed, and he was trying to get up on it. He was on a good click.
I think actually that could have been a very good lap time if it had counted, but it means now the field is set for our 4 heats, the top 4 from each to advance directly to the main event. And Cody Winicki swings in qualifying and swings to the top. The Impact Sim Sports number 9 will be alongside of Christopher Plumley in that Factory Sim Sport number 36, with Tyson Miller and Adam McAfee directly behind them. Austin Schreiber and Tyler Shattuck are on the outside looking in, and behind them, the final row, it's Brock Smith and Solomon Borschinger. So 8 to enter, 4 to advance directly to the main event, and everyone else headed to the LCQ. And there they are, Dave, lined up, ready for the Land Rush start.
And I'll tell you, any other race, it's difficult if you qualify last. When it comes to the Land Rush, man, it's being quick on the start and just getting that line established right away. So you have a better chance than I think in Crandon and any other racetrack we've ever gone to get a good heat race if you qualified low.
The invert for our main event is 6 as well. In talking about inverts at this track isn't that important, but what it does mean is whoever wins this race, Dave, is effectively going to start in the middle of the front row on that start during the main event. It's a treacherous place to be, but you'd want to advance your way directly from this race. You would not want to sit around and go through the LCQs. The team at Race Control has just finished their last checks, and so we wait for the engines to rev and for us to get our first Land Rush start. Now, only 8 trucks, yes, but it's still going to bring plenty of action. Off towards turn 5 at Crandon. Here we go. Once again racing in the iRacing Short Course Pro 4 National Series. Great start from Cody Winicki. He'll lead them down through the long right-hander. Plumley's going to get challenged around the outside. There's some bumping, some banging further behind them as well, but they'll tiptoe their way to the long left-hander with all 8 trucks still pointed in a straight line.
And McAfee with a good jump there, and also Schreiber, how about that? Moves up into 4th. And, you know, Brock Smith and McAfee, they were back there, and Borschinger. But it's Wodnicki leading. Plumley looking to the inside right now with Tyson Miller and Schreiber trying to battle it out there. You can see the Terminator right on the heels of Cody Wodnicki as Wodnicki and Plumley fight for that top spot, door to door.
We have effectively had a full lap for free as officially we cross the line and start the first lap of the race, but with Christopher Plumley in front and now Cody Wodnicki really having to try and watch behind because it's not just Tyson Miller, but Brock Smith's joined the fun as well. All 8 trucks only split by 2 seconds so far. Rather tidy as we get underway for the 6 laps, and you can see them single file for the most part. It's only Solomon Borschinger that's losing some time right now.
Yeah, Smith had a great run, moved in that 4th position. It looks like there's a little gap between him and Miller. He's going to try and tighten that up through the gravel pit at this point. But McAfee, he's got to keep an eye on him back there. That's that last qualifying position for Smith. He doesn't want to go that LCQ. So you can imagine he's going to go into protection mode. If not, try to move forward on Miller trying to make the move. Couldn't make it stick.
And Dave, just, you know, I'm speaking as the somewhat layman here. This track, even though it's similar in nature to the longer version, the longer configuration, it just seems like it races totally differently. Races a lot more like a bull ring.
Well, yeah, there's no time to rest. I mean, you're constantly getting that truck sideways. Not often do you have a straight steering wheel right there, and then bam, you turn it again. You're leaping, you're flying through the air, and then you're on the binders and you're rotating. There's no resting. There's no rest for the wicked.
Probably not too much of difference in terms of setups, but like you say, it's that mentality, the not having a chance to breathe. 6-lap heats, not that long, so we are going to breeze through our first stages of the race. That's some contact as Adam McAfee leans on Brock Smith. Now, these drivers need to be careful. They don't want to separate themselves out from those front 3, because that would mean just one transfer spot to fight over, although that looks like Cody Wodnicki in front's got a great run through the long left-hander to open the lap, and he'll try and challenge Christopher Plumley, so there's some action at the front of the field. There's some action for the transfer spot as well as McAfee almost launches himself on the inside and now loses out to Tyler Shattuck.
Yeah, I was going to say a little too aggressive going with that turn. He shapes the speed, had a little contact there. Had to put it out. But the battle right now with Plumley and Wodnicki. Plumley, he's got that inside line coming up over the Polaris Leap. Into Calamity Corner he's going to go. Wodnicki's going to try and switch off, take that inside line. Plumley's going to keep it tight and hold on to that spot across the stripe.
I will say, if a corner's named Calamity Corner, it usually has earned that name as well. So it's something that we've always got to keep an eye on. There's that 36 still leading the race, driver in virtual reality behind the wheel. And this is one of those disciplines in the world of sim racing where virtual reality is used a bit more, Dave, than in some of the other ones. Like, for example, the Porsche Esports Super Cup, where most of the drivers just race on regular monitors.
Yeah, and that's a question I'd like to ask somebody who's done both. What's the advantage or disadvantage of either one? And, you know, I know you could, I mean, even in road racing, you got to look around. You can see where your competitors are. Someone's coming up your inside. You know, you catch a little whip by the corner of your eye. Where the monitors, you know, it's kind of, you have to do more of a scan. It's kind of a weird, I'm kind of curious to see what drivers would say the disadvantages of either one.
I think for this particular format of racing, it just makes a lot of sense to me, right? Especially given how close quarters the combat tends to be. It's stretched out slightly, though, onto the penultimate lap of the race. So one more lap to go at the line. And Brock Smith still has to look behind him slightly because Tyler Shattuck, Austin Schreiber are still there. And the gap up to those top 3 has grown very slightly. So white flag will be in hand. One more lap to go in the first heat of the night.
And that is a good point that you brought up there. You see how close we are right now. Virtual reality with this close quarters combat could be an advantage. I do see that now. You know, because in regular racing, you're not going to see these contact. You don't go bumping on road racing like these with dirt. Oh, look at this. Wodnicki looking at the inside of Plumley right now, door to door, trying to force him wide up against the wall. Wodnicki's going to hug it there, see if he can get that tail right in front of Plumley to get him a little bit wide. Plumley's going to have to switch up the strategy, go to the inside, take it low. Let's see. Fills it with a slide job.
Great job, and if I'm Cody Wodnicki, I might not mind this. Yes, I got pole position, but this means I'll start second in the main event. There's some argy-bargy through the final corner. It's not going to matter. Plumley wins the first heat of the night, brings with him Cody Wodnicki, Tyson Miller, and Brock Smith, who's able to hold on as Tyler Shattuck and Austin Schreiber end up fighting their own race to the checkered flag. Adam McAfee and Solomon Borschinger also have to go to our LCQs. But let's set the grid for heat number 2 and get ready to advance 4 more drivers directly to the main event. It's going to be Connor Barry, the championship leader, that lines up at the front alongside of Thad Countryman, Sean Winkler and Crystal King sharing row 2, with Keith Jeffrey and Eric Jones on the outside looking in. Final row, Christian Noble and Kyle Cooper, as there they go, 8 wide and ready to go again.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that was a quick start on that one. It looks like somebody was left sleeping on the line. And looks like the inside or second position is going to get the pole shot there. Looks like possibly Noble, is it?
That was interesting. It's Winkler that's battling alongside of that Countryman, I think. Yeah. And now here comes Connor Barry. So maybe a couple of machines not fully ready for that race start, but 3 wide as they filter off the corner. Crystal King's trying to plug the hole and make it 4 abreast. Barry's got some contact. He's slipping, sliding into the corner. Watch behind as well for some of the other machines to try and take advantage of all of this. But 2 by 2, we worked a Calamity Corner, and we haven't even started lap number 1 officially. Thad Countryman's going to lead. Winkler and Barry fighting for second at the line.
And look how close this battle. We got to say, what great car control from both Crystal King and Connor Barry. That could have gone really wrong. And Crystal King still fighting forward there. She gets in front of Jeffrey, trying to hold off that 199 sim racer. But, you know, look at this. Countryman holding off Connor Barry. But Winkler, he is not going to sit on his laurels right now. He's going to try and get up there and challenge him. Let's see if he can get into Barry into the inside here. That's what he's trying to do the setup here.
To the inside, the slide job gets thrown, and Crystal King trying to roll the momentum around the outside, which does become the inside up towards Calamity Corner, so she should hold on as we close officially that first lap. Connor Barry lost out on the race start. Winkler now gets a shove from Crystal King. Just a reminder that the 278 is there, but outside of Barry and Countryman switching around and a couple of changes, 6th, 7th, and 8th positions, not much in terms of total chaos after that race start.
Yeah, definitely a lot of chaos there. That was the quickest start I've seen. And you can see now the battle with Countryman. You know, we're going to go back to Winkler. And you got King. Now, King, she's got a lot of pressure from Jeffrey. She's only on the last qualifying position. She does not want to go to the LCQ. And you can see she's now leaning on Winkler. It looks like she's worrying about what's in front of her and not what's behind her. And that's smart. You know, just don't leave a door open. That's all you got to do.
She gets pushed as well by Jeffrey through the final corner. Maybe also recognizing that if Barry and Countryman just continue to pull away as they are right now, Winkler, King, Jeffrey, and Noble, those might be the drivers fighting over the final 2 transfer positions directly into that main event. Crystal King, who has had a rather uncomfortable season, despite the fact that she still sits 12th in the championship. Can you believe that, Dave?
I know, it's the tenacity of that young lady. I got to tell you, she is one good race car driver. And to watch a driver like her from the regionals to now the national series, how she has improved is incredible, as well as many other drivers.
I think part of it as well is that even though she gets involved in a lot of contact, it's not usually her fault, and so usually hasn't received too many penalty points. There is one driver, I'm not going to name and shame them, but they have 65 penalty points this season. That's almost as many penalty points as they have scored actual championship points. Connor Barry has taken the race lead over Thad Countryman. I think this, though, was kind of to be expected with their gap to 3rd and 4th behind. Let's see what's going to happen. 2 laps to go when we cross back to the line.
And King now looking at the inside. Winkler, but carries a little much too much speed. Now look at this. I think Jeffrey was trying to, but it's going to be pretty much coming down to Calamity Corner as it says. Barry now has that lead, and let's see when he gets across here. It's going to be Barry Countryman, and how about that? King keeps it tight and holds on to that final qualifying spot.
Yeah, I've commentated now on 3 years of the Porsche Esports Super Cup. I've never seen that through a braking zone where they're just casual contact and they roll. If there's contact in that series, they're just crashing each other out. It's a very different format of racing, this short course national series. And you and I, Dave, we were talking just before we went on air. Can you imagine? Go back to the streets of Long Beach, just add some jumps like they did for the Stadium Super Trucks this past weekend?
Oh, he'd be sick. He would just be sick. That's all I can say.
Who do we need to send something nice to at iRacing for Christmas to make that happen? We'll try and find out. 1 lap left to go as Connor Barry continues to feel the pressure. Open the door up for that Countryman there, but I think that gives him the speed to roll out to the next part of the lap.
And amazing thing is Crystal King was holding out the advances there, and you can see the gap now between Winkler and her, just a little bit much, but she's got the gap between Jeffrey, and that's what you want to get. You can see the intensity in Jeffrey's face as he looks now. He's just like, oh man, this is a tough one.
We talked about it earlier. This is very much kind of a bull ring. It's a very intense 6 laps for these drivers, plus the half a lap that we get for free on the land rush start. Connor Barry has fought his way back to the front of the field and is going to hold on to win heat number 2. That will line him up in 5th position come the main event. He's got that countryman Sean Winkler and Crystal King all advancing directly with him to our feature. But Jeffrey, Noble, Cooper Jones headed off to the one of 2 LCQs that we'll have in just a few moments' time, and the mad scramble for them awaits. Heat 3 is about to be on deck, and this one's got some more championship contenders. Nicholas Dachelet and Tom Grady line up on the front row, and then second place in points, Luke Knups alongside of Zachary Drapkin on row number 2. Matt Adams and Brent Smith, 5th and 6th. Brent trying to match Brock and advance directly through with Josh Edmondson and Fouad Baran, the final row of the grid.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one there, I'll tell you. Yeah, this is a lot of, Knupp, Drapkin, Grady, Dachelet, Smith. Ooh, it's going to be a good one.
And once again, let's see where the good start tends to be in these land rush formations. The leader on the very inside tends to get a pretty good start. On the outside, you'll get a pretty decent start as well. The middle's a bit more bumpy, and so it can tend to slow you down and bog you down, and that's why that invert top 6, it may be quite interesting once we get to that main event. 20 laps of action, a competition caution after 9 laps, but that is all to come. The 8 drivers are now just waiting for a signal to be given to the flagman to start that countdown sequence, and let's go racing. One more heat to go after this, and then those 2 LCQs. The drivers have been given the instruction. We're just waiting for that countdown to begin. And now the engines will sing. On the inside, Nicholas Dachelet. On the outside, Fouad Baran. Who's going to get the launch down into turn 5? Not the best launch from Nicholas Dachelet, and instead he's going to get challenged by Tom Grady and Luke Knupp. 3 wide and win some contact through the opening corner, and sweeping his way through to take advantage, take a bow, Zachary Drapkin to 2nd place.
Yeah, Drapkin came all the way across when she established at a clear line there. You can see Smith getting a little love back there between Edmondson and Grady, but it's going to be Drapkin. Look at this. Jumps out. He thread the eye of the needle with Knupp and Dachelet fighting behind him. Dachelet looking to the inside with Knupp on the inside of him. Now they swap it out to the inside. Almost 3 wide through that corner in both groups.
This is great stuff. This is what Dave was saying. Too many strong drivers to not have something crazy. Drapkin will lead as the first lap officially begins. Knupp's going to be able to edge out Dachelet and now focuses on pushing Drapkin out of the way. 3 wide as they funnel off the corner. Drapkin in the red line, all 56, hung out on the outside. It'll be Knupp through the jumps that hold the inside line, but it's down to that gravel pit where he's going to have to now get physical to bully the 56 into submission.
Now the question is, Dachelet going into the gravel pit here. Now he usually has a different line. He's going to slide it in, carry a little more speed there. He gets up there, tries to challenge, but Drapkin had a great drive out of that corner, that middle preferred line. As you can see, Knupp's going to go back to the inside there. See if Drapkin goes a little wide there. Just keeps that nose tight, and nobody makes the move there. So it's going to be Drapkin across. Yeah.
But 3 bits of contact from Dachelet to the back of Luke Knupp. So this is very different at the very front. We've got 4 drivers that have now broken away from those behind. Remember, Matt Adams did win on the streets of Long Beach. It's a bit more of an asphalt specialist, though, compared to maybe here on the dirt. And so the breakaway for these 4 drivers, if they don't fight with each other, they know they are guaranteed to make it to the main event.
Yeah, Grady's really starting to close up and try to get back into the fight. He's going to see if he can keep his nose right on the tail of Dachelet. If Dachelet makes a move, he might be able to follow up through. Kind of open up the door, part the seas, I like to say. As you can see, Dachelet fighting with Knupp. Cross that stripe once again. Knupp jumps to the inside. Now Dachelet, he's going to drop back to the inside and see if he can keep that speed up through across the Red Bull jump.
So the fascinating way by which the grids are set for the main event means that second place here is actually going to line up, if I've done my math correctly, which never trust a commentator's math. It's a dangerous proposition. On the inside of row number 2, which is actually a pretty nice place to start, and everyone else behind on row 2 as well. Knupp gets past. That's great by Nicholas Dachelet to fight his way forward to that second position. Zachary Drapkin's got a bit of an advantage now, heading back to the line to trigger 3 laps to go. Physical. Knupp bullies his way back forward and to second place, but 7/10 the margin to the race leader.
Yeah, I was talking, I knew Dachelet was going to try and make a move in the gravel pit. I thought it was going to be the lap before he went through it, but like you said, redemption for Knupp right back. But here comes Dachelet to answer back. Starting to leave Grady a little bit of a gap that these two are actually racing. Oh, contact with the wall a couple times by Knupp. You got to wonder if that's going to scrub a little speed off him as they head into the gravel pit again. Dachelet's going to look low, try to push him wide, get him up in the marbles.
And Matt Adams is not far away. This is getting more intense, more tetchy in these closing stages, and Grady's not going to be feeling comfortable. Will he follow Knupp through on the inside? He puts himself in the hole, but now the long way around through the opening corner. There's the 404. Only a couple of truck lengths away now with 2 laps left to rumble. Ooh, Grady gets pushed out wide, not totally out of line, but he's going to be looking in that rear view mirror.
Yeah, unfortunately, Edmondson, Smith, and Boran really pushed back to the there, because you can see right now, Matt Adams, he might get into this fight after all, but a white flag will be coming by next time past the tower here. Oh, look at this, a lot of speed down the inside. Little contact with Grady. Matt Adams has joined the fight.
Tries to shave a bit of the right front fiberglass, sends it up towards Calamity Corner, and opens the door on Tom Grady. And so with 1 lap left to go, he's fought his way up into a transfer position. The 535 thought about sliding back through the opening corner, but he's got to get it done now on this final lap of the race.
Yeah, if it's not the gravel pit, it's been Calamity Corner. We've seen the passes there already. Nowhere else have we seen it happen. I think it's such high speed through this, but when those guys get in those corners there, it's about who's going to outbrake who coming in the gravel pit or Calamity Corner at that point, or out accelerate.
It's not that close to the front of the field, and so after what was a quite spectacular move through the opening couple of corners, maybe a contender for move of the year already, it's Zachary Drapkin that will win the 3rd heat of the evening. Luke Knupp behind him. You can see what it means to Drapkin as well. Dachelet and Grady will grab 3rd and 4th position. Matt Adams will miss out by 0.2 of a second. Oh, that could have been so much closer if it was a little bit more physical on the run towards the line. There's confirmation of the result. Adam joins Edmondson, Smith, and Boran in having to fight his way through an LCQ. But for Factory Simsport squeaking 2 of their drivers through, they'll be quite happy with that result. 4th and final heat. It sends Keaton Swain and Mason Prater out there on the front row with Trenton Briley and Brody Deshore behind them. Wes Graham and Dennis Mickelson then 5th and 6th positions. We just crossed Kirchmeier lining up on the final row. Aidan Irvine, as ever, doing the race control duties behind the scenes. But here we go as we get lined up for the final heat of the night.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one for sure. Keaton Swain, Mr. Dry Spell himself. He's been consistent, he runs, but man, that elusive win still is probably ticking in the back of his mind. He's going to be driving like a man possessed for sure, but man, talk about more talent. Mason Prater, Trenton Briley. So I look down the list here. Dusher, Graham, Mickelson, Kirchmeier. They're all drivers that are fighters, that's for sure.
Good effort in qualifying.
Yeah.
Good effort in qualifying from Mason Prater, that's for sure. At one point was up there in the front 4. That would have put him on pole position for one of the heats. The drivers, once again, though, have been given those instructions. Eyes to the lights, rev those engines, and let's get ready to go. With 6 laps on the board, can see the trucks waiting to get released, and off and away they go. It's a good jump from Trenton Briley, but he's going to get pinched on the run down to the long right-hander. Argy-bargy further behind, slip and sliding. Dennis Mickelson loses out, and so Keaton Swain's going to take the race lead. Behind him for Mason Prater, then Trenton Briley, but fiberglass flying as they throw the trucks into the air.
And Mickelson's got a little challenge going back there. The fight for 40 with Brody Dusher. And then you got Kirchmeier and Graham also trying to get up in the fight. 7 trucks all battling for 4 positions. It's going to be a tight one for sure. I got to tell you right now, Keaton Swain is feeling his oats right now. You can see him starting to stretch it out just a little bit. Briley still fighting with Prater. It may slow him down a little bit. But you also got Duscher and Kirchmeier. They're all getting into each other.
They will stack up into each other through the final corner. Keaton Swain's taken advantage and built up his buffer. Prater's held on to second, albeit with a bit of difficulty. And then Bradley and Duscher. It's as the top 4 started, but quite an intense race start, to say the very least. Cross Kirchmeier, he's not far behind. Dennis Mikkelsen and Wes Graham are in contention as well. And remember, we have that free lap effectively on the race start before we get back around to the line. That's a bit more contact as Mason Prater holds on to it. Brody Duscher and Trenton Briley go either side of him to take advantage, and Prater down to 4th as a result.
And Prater just sticks his nose right back up the inside there as he just rubs on Trenton Briley, trying to say, hey, wait a minute, what just happened here?
Just a little bit clumsy there, I think, as they work their way down to the gravel pit. They're still fighting this one out, and it's now almost 2 seconds the advantage of Keaton Swain. First time we've seen anything like this before tonight. That was Prater pushed out into the wall, bodied by Trenton Briley. Brody Duscher tried to do the same, but he's not having as much success. Fiberglass on the right front really struggling to hold on, and more contact down at the gravel pit.
And pretty much deja vu from earlier. We saw, of course, battling was Duscher and Briley as they're moving through, and Prater just unfortunately got tagged, got a little out of shape, clicked it over. But, you know, it's great the way you see him fight right back there. Duscher and him now battling here, and then you see Kirchmeier coming up the inside. Can he get any traction through here? He's fighting for it for sure, side by side with Canuck.
He's trying to shut the door. Oh, he gets a bit of contact. That's going to force him offline, force him up high. But I think he's going to be able to hold on down to the gravel pit. He's going to have to try and now cover off the inevitable lunge up the inside. And he counters with also trying to put the pressure onto Brody Duscher. There's the contact from behind. It's actually Dennis Mikkelsen that bullies his way on forward. They're going to have 3 laps to go this time by. The contact's not done. You'd think this was an LCQ, but we haven't got there just yet, boys.
Yeah, and Kirchmeier's getting in the mix now, too, and Graham behind. Everybody playing the accordion effect there, kind of tagging each other, leapfrogging their way through the pack. It's just, I mean, like you said, this looks like an LCQ. It's getting that vicious.
Yeah, I'm honestly a bit surprised that we're seeing it this early, but maybe it's just the realization that they're running out of opportunities. Keaton Swain's, has it's a 2.5 second lead now as they head back down to the gravel pit. You can see the different lines being run. Duscher trying to cover off Mason Prater, who gets a very good exit off the corner. Remember, that slightly wider entry opens up the opportunity to get on the power earlier, and then door to door forces his way on forward. Dennis Mikkelsen's going to try and come through as well. 3 here, battling for 2 transfer positions.
And Briley able to break away a little bit with Prater, Duscher, and Mikkelsen battling back there for that final positions there. Prater, is feeling the pressure. He's still got a spot on the qualifying, but it's going to get physical as we get now. The white flag will be coming out this next time around. Now, the crazy thing is there's nobody's really changed the attitude. It's been a lot of door-to-door, maybe a little bit of a nose here, but it was because of a little bit of other contact between other cars, too. There's nothing been malicious here.
Yeah, no, this is still good, hard racing as we cycle back around to take that white flag. Almost 3 wide off the corner. Duscher's the one, though, that's really battling with Mikkelsen initially. He tries to give a bit of contact to Prater to slow him down, bring him back into this fight, but Prater's got that 3rd position, holds on to the spot.
Yeah, we can see Keaton Swain with only a 1.5 over Briley. Look at this, 2.5 seconds going almost back to these guys fighting for the 3rd and 4th position. You can see right now, Brody Duscher is like going, okay, I want to get Prater, but I got to protect from Mikkelsen. Mikkelsen coming up the inside. Let's see if he's going to go for the crossover, but Duscher is going to have that inside line coming. Keep it tight. Coming around. Ooh, that just hurt him.
And as Deshore made the contact, slowed all those momentum, Keaton Swain wins at the front of the field, but Dennis Mickelson gets it done to advance alongside of Trenton Briley and Mason Prater. There's confirmation of the result, and Brody Deshore is going to be wondering if he slightly misplayed his hand. Kirchmeier Graham also headed to an LCQ. Speaking of, they're getting gridded up, ready to go for 2 of those last chance qualifiers. Let's dial up the starting grid for the first of those races. Remember, the top 2 to make their way directly to the back of the starting grid of the main event. It's Shattuck and Adams on the front row, Scheiber and Edmondson on row 2, with Adam McAfee and Brent Smith on row number 3. By himself on row 4, Solomon Borschinger at the back of the pack.
And this is going to be I think this is going to be a physical one too. I'm looking at the names right now and the drivers and how fast they are. These guys are going to be banging doors for sure.
I think we're in for even more physicality than we had in that previous heat race, and that's saying something. The benefit of being here in the virtual world is the drivers can reset the fiberglass that they've shodden off their trucks relatively easily. That's a interesting look at the truck in the middle of the pack, but here we go. All 7 are now lined up and ready to go. So they just wait for that instruction from race control and then get launched off and away. This part of the track, by the way, is not going to be getting much usage, and so in terms of track evolution, it's going to feel, I'm sure, pretty different to the rest of the track once these drivers hit the rest of the surface. Here we go. The drivers have been given that instruction. It's eyes to the lights, and we are ready to go. 6 laps onto the board, and the first of 2 last chance qualifiers. 7 trucks lined up. And it's a good jump again from that middle. It's Austin Scheiber that gets a nice launch, but in the air, loses some speed. And so Tyler Shattuck on the inside is going to control the running down through the long right-hander. Long way around for that teal entry. He'll slide his way forward potentially to second. That's Brent Smith into a transfer spot.
And looks like someone just got out of shape there. And was that, I think that was Matt Adams. No, it wasn't.
Josh Edmondson in that virtual, in the motion rig, rather, APV simulators.
Oh, I wonder how that felt when he hit a wall.
And he's back in pit lane, so I'm guessing probably not a great feeling by any means. Shattuck and Adams still 1 and 2. Brent Smith fighting with Austin Scheiber as they trip over each other. Back to the line to start the first lap.
Smith in a good position coming around, and you can see right now Schreiber trying to take that line away that gets at Smith. Ow, he gets tied up back there. Kathy and Borschinger, unfortunately, and that's going to probably bring Smith out of it.
Yeah, you can see the timing tower is a little bit confused by where Smith is on the track relative to the others. Scheiber now up into the wall. That was the battle with Adam McAfee, so effectively 3rd on the road right now. You'll see the left side cycle back around. Shattuck and Adams to the top 2 spots as we get ready to close the opening lap. I think right now, I can't believe I'm saying this, but those top 2 just don't fight with each other right now. Try and break away from McAfee and Scheiber behind.
Yeah, just follow his lines. Don't try to pass. Don't try to do anything. You're not going to really get a better position for a start here in Crandon. Now it's the goal is qualifier.
The difference is do you start 17th or 19th, I think, for these drivers right now. So, like you said,
tomato.
Flip the coin. Here's the replay, by the way. Let's see what happens to Edmondson, and then we can try and figure out what the ride was like in the motion rig.
You see it through there, 3 wide there. Seeing Edmondson jumps off, and there it is. Comes over, moves over, and it's contact. Ooh, man. Talk about straight into it.
I hope he had seatbelts on for that one. Otherwise, he was going flying straight forward into the steering wheel.
Either that or he took his head into the LCD screen.
The dangers of motion rigs. I guess, to be fair, you turn them up quite high, and you can do that sort of damage. I did see a video of Simcraft motion rig that Jordan Taylor was running. He was running the motion so strong, it shook the rig apart. So just don't do that and you'll be fine. 3 laps about to be complete, 3 left to go. And again, all these top 2 have to do, don't fight with each other, and they'll be at the back of the main event starting grid.
Yeah, but I tell you, talk about adding realism right there. Having that motion rig has just got to be the coolest experience. You can see McAfee right now looking at Adams and Shattuck. They're doing a great job. Just stay out of each other's way. Just follow those fast lines. McAfee's just going to have to find a faster line around. But right now it's Adams and Shattuck. Adams can run asphalt lines right now and be fast. He's not dicing with anybody.
Yeah. And confirmation, top 2 to advance. So Brent Smith, Josh Edmondson, they're done for the day. Solomon Borshing is slightly further behind Austin Schreiber than I think he'd want to be with 2 laps left to go. It's really just, can Adam McAfee close? I mean, he is now closer than he's been on those previous couple of laps. Last lap alone gained about a tenth and a bit. As he did the previous lap, he's just running out of time, running out of laps to make this move happen.
Yeah, it's just, coming fast in this bull ring. I mean, 6 laps happen in a blink of an eye. People watch this like, oh, it's a good little, qualifier 6 laps. But when you're racing it, it's over. It's like, man, I could have used 2 more laps. Happens so fast.
6 laps on the longer version of Crandon, that feels like a lot longer than 6 laps here at Crandon Short, which really do just fly on past. 1 more lap to go though, and I think on this lap McAfee might have lost out a little bit more. You can see he closes back up through the final corner. He seems very strong there, but onto the white flag lap, he closed up another 10th last lap, but it's still going to be a little bit too little too late. Tyler Shattuck and Matt Adams, 1 more lap to go before they make it to the main event.
And you can really see Shattuck and Adams, even McAfee's using the whole track, trying to take the path of least resistance, is what I like to say. Being smooth, not scrubbing off too much speed, carrying your speed up into the turns. Shattuck goes a little up. I'm kind of amazed at, with all the marbles that get thrown up, that the guys are actually finding some traction up there still.
We're seeing some good talent, and I'm sure they're only adapting as the conditions continue to change. LCQ1 sees Shattuck and Adams advance as they fend off the challenge from Adam McAfee, who unfortunately misses out on the main event alongside of Austin Schreiber and Solomon Borschinger. Josh Edmondson and Brent Smith marked as DNFs in LCQ number 1. Remember, we've got 1 more of these LCQs to come. It's another 6 laps thrown onto the board, but this time throw 8 drivers out on track. Keith Jeffrey and Brody DeShore on that front row. Christian Noble and Cross Kirchmeier behind them. Carl Cooper, Wes Graham, 5th and 6th positions, with Eric Jones and Fouad Baran at the tail end of the starting lineup. So an extra truck to join the fray, but expecting a similar sort of chaos down towards the opening corner.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be interesting. I mean, now we're throwing a whole bunch more trucks at that first turn. It only gets so wide.
There is a day coming when iRacing will let us pack however many cars and trucks we want onto any track, I would hope. I hope to run the first race with 100 trucks here at Crandon. Just imagine how crazy that would be.
You have to do an Australian pursuit, and whoever's left, every time you get lap somebody, they go off the track. It's like an endurance race.
Right.
That's something we've never done that in short course.
Instructions have been sent, and we are green. A good jump from Brody DeShore, but he's pinching Keith Jeffrey down to the right-hander to open this race up. Those 2 are fighting at the front of the field, though, as the rest of the field behind them tries to work their way on forward. The 946 of Christian Noble's got the 73 of Carl Cooper alongside. Cross Kirchmeier tucked in behind them, and Wes Graham trying to join the action as well. 2 by 2 off the opening couple of corners, front of the field. DeShore and Jeffrey still not figuring it out.
Well, Jeffrey may have just figured it out as he tries to fill, but he gets spun around there. He loses traction, and it changes it up there. Noble, Cooper, Kirchmeier, and Graham now. Jeffries and DeShore get shuffled back. Jeffrey trying to fight his way back, but they're back in 6th and 7th position. But it's Noble who inherits the mistake there with Cooper now in a qualifying position as Kirchmeier and Graham door to door across the stripe.
Thwapbaran does have a black flag. That might be for a false start, so he is definitely going to be finishing at the tail end of the field. Everyone else still in contention. There comes the move from Wes Graham. Tried to force Cross Kirchmeier into the wall and maybe up into Carl Cooper, but didn't quite work out. Another bit of contact down towards the gravel pit with Keith Jeffrey now joining to make it 4 wide off the corner, but now all releasing your race leader, Christian Noble, at the front of the field.
And how about that? Jeffrey just fighting his way up to 3rd place right now. Gets by Kirchmeier. Graham trying to get up there. Jeffrey's laying a little bit of heat right now on Cooper. But look at this. Up the inside there, Jeffrey Graham trying to fight with it. Following the N73. Cooper with a target on his back.
Really, they're fighting for that one transfer spot right now, unless they want to try and work with each other and close back up to Christian Noble in the 946. They'll have 4 laps to go at the line. There's a look coming from Keith Jeffrey down to the gravel pit. He's going to lunge. He's going to send it. And Carl Cooper wasn't quite ready for the switchback to try and park it and then really get off the corner with some momentum. Wes Graham's going to try and, I think, follow the 88 up the inside. Keep an eye out behind. Brody DeShore is trying to fight his way back forward as well.
And DeShore right now is door-to-door with Graham. Cooper, gets by, with Cooper. And then you got Keith Jeffrey all the way up to 2nd now. Incredible. Jeffrey, a man on a mission.
He's fighting hard. Carl Cooper holds on to 3rd for the time being. Gives him that chance to close back up to Keith Jeffrey. 3 laps ago this time by. Track has definitely changed. You can just see visually how much it's moved around the dirt since the evening got underway. Brody DeShore tried a slide drop. Carl Cooper and Wes Graham were ready for that one, though, and no change of position back towards the line. Around the outside, Cross Kirchmeier is setting up his look as well as DeShore goes up the inside.
Yeah, DeShore kind of overshot the gravel pit there, just a little bit, carried too much speed there. That's why Cooper and Graham were able to hold on to position, but DeShore not giving up. But look at this, Kirchmeier now getting up into the mix here. Still got 2 laps to go. Quite interesting how you can see him going up the inside again, trying to keep that gas on, keep the traction going. He's found a line. He's moving.
Yep, these drivers have had to adapt to that changing surface. Here comes another slide job from Brody DeShore. He gets it done, but they've really cost each other some time here. 2 laps left to go. Keith Jeffrey's closed up to Christian Noble, and these drivers, all they've done is pull themselves off a fight for a transfer position. There was contact there. Eric Jones just avoids going up and over as Cross Kirchmeier comes into the side panel.
Yeah, Kirchmeier, still trying to fight. It looks like he gets up in the mix, gets shuffled back again. He's got the never die attitude, that's for sure. But DeShore now is starting to get a little breakaway. Now Cooper and Graham are concentrating on each other. If they keep fighting with each other there, that's just going to allow DeShore to pull away. But it's not going to matter because Jeffrey is pulling away with Noble now.
I think at this point they're just fighting for bragging rights amongst each other. They'll have one more lap at the line. But yeah, basically academic. There's no points up for grabs here. It's just drivers knowing they're going home, searching for something in consolation. They're 3 wide off Calamity Corner. It's still some great racing at the very least in this final LCQ of the night. But again, Noble and Jeffrey in control on the final lap of this LCQ.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the last 3 races, the last heat race and the last couple of LCQs, been a little physical. Not necessarily the leaders have been breaking away in the last 2. It's been everybody fighting behind second.
We do have a comp caution on lap 9 of our main event to pack the field back up if we do have any breakaways in those early stages. But that is all to come. We do know, though, that now, after surviving this final LCQ of the night, it's going to be Christian Noble and Keith Jeffrey that make their way to the back of the main event starting grid. For Brody DeShore, for Carl Cooper, Eric Jones, and Wes Graham, fights to the line, but academic, they're done for the night. Confirmation.
Noble. Oh, sorry.
Confirmation of the race results. Remember, top 2 to advance. Everyone else done for the night, Dave.
Well, the amazing thing is Noble wasn't even really a factor there until the mistake we saw. Unfortunately, DeShore and Jeffrey got into it. The amazing thing that Jeffrey was able to work his way all the way back up through the field to a qualifying position. But Noble just, I tell you, right place, right time. Sometimes it's better to be lucky.
So we have 2 minutes and 30 seconds before we'll get the main event underway. Remember, drivers that have been waiting since their heat race have a chance to head back out onto track and see how it's all evolved. Track has a lot more evolution given the short configuration. Lends the drivers a couple more laps to run their way around the track. Maybe final setup preparations as well, dial in any adjustments they want to make, and then get ready to go. We'll have a top 6 invert as well, which does mean the winner of heat number 1 starts in 6th position, right in the heart of that first starting grid row.
So I was just looking when they were coming out of the pits there. They had all like the NASCAR style giant boxes there. You will never see that. They're back in the pit. They're back in their normal pits. They have both big toolboxes, but seeing that setup there is like, okay, there's a little liberty there.
We'll forgive them. They needed to place them somewhere at least visible. So there you go. If you were ever wondering, based on iRacing, now those are probably not wheeled out there. Back in the paddock, that is for sure. What is out there, Dave, in the real world? What would a pit lane in a short course track kind of look like in the real world?
Well, I mean, they actually will have like I'm going to call it almost looking like a chase truck setup. They'll roll out there with some UTVs. They'll bring some extra tires and a floor jack. And some tools. That's really about it. Maybe a belt. You see, the problem with short course racing, it's such a short track. It's not like we're out there for 100 laps. Main event, let's say 18 laps we're doing. That happens so quickly. If you don't get in during a comp caution or during a caution flag, you're just going to be instantly changing a tire. Maybe pulling some fiberglass off. I've seen guys throw a belt on real quick, but other than that, there's not much you can do. It's pretty much over at that point.
Well, these drivers have the benefit of having the free reset button, which is always a benefit, both in terms of getting back out there quickly, but also the hit to the pocketbook. There's a cycle through of our different drivers. There's Tom Grady, who's got a treadmill apparently behind him in his sim racing room.
It's his warm-up.
My warm-up
Is that a gun safe there, Flumley?
I always used to warm up for sim racing by eating some food, as all high-performance athletes do.
What do they do? Get their Mountain Dew or their Death Energy or
whatever Mexican food I can find down the road. I use California. There's some Mexican food around the corner that's always pretty good. There's Nicholas Dachelet, though. These drivers have been given their instructions to roll off to the starting grid because we are ready to go. There's Luke Knupp, second in the championship, knowing he needs to try and fight his way forward. Here's the starting grid. Thad Countryman's going to be on the very inside of the front row. He'll have Cody Winicki, Keaton Swain, Zachary Drapkin, Connor Barry, and Christopher Plumley for company. Because remember, we're 10 wide here at Crandon. Luke Knupp, Trenton Briley, Tyson Miller, and Sean Winkler. That makes up the entirety of the front row, with Nicholas Dachelet and Mason Prater inside of row number 2. 13th for Brock Smith, 14th for Crystal King, with Tom Grady, Dennis Mickelson, Tyler Shattuck, Christian Noble, and then rounding out the field, Matt Adams and Keith Jeffrey. 20 trucks ready to go for 20 laps of racing, Dave.
Oh, this is going to be incredible. 2 rows here. I love the start. There's nothing better. But if you notice, if you're watching over at the overhead shot, when they take off, it's not flat. They're catching air. So when you're landing back down, and that's why you see some of these trucks sometimes, they're not ready for it. They can get out of shape quickly, even before you get to that Forest County Potawatomi turn number 1.
Well, here we go. Main event time. Ready to go from the big house, the Crandon International Raceway, for the second time in 2025 for the iRacing Pro 4 National Series. Great start from second. What's going to happen as they filter off to the long right-hander? There's some contact on the outside. Connor Barry, I think, avoided all of the chaos, sweeping their way through to the first jump of the lap. It's Cody Winicki and Thad Countryman still side by side. Winicki gets all sorts of cattywampus, holds onto the machine as well, but we're almost 4 wide down to the gravel pit.
And looking at the inside is going to be Keaton Swain on Cody Winicki right now, but you can see Connor Barry and that CVR General Tire machine looking up the inside also. He's got a whole handful of drivers, Countryman right next to him, and then the Zach Attack Drapkin He's also up to the third now, trying to push Countryman out. But you can see Knupp trying to sneak up the inside with Briley trying to follow.
And I think Knupp's grabbed 2 spots there alone. Now he's trying to grab a couple more as he gets physical to the opening corner. It's a good lead for, I think that's Cody Winicki up front in the number 9. He held on through all of that. Keaton Swain, Luke Knupp still holding on to second and third. And then there's the side-by-side moment. Drapkin alongside of Countryman. Knupp's behind with his championship rival, Connor Barry as well. Red number shield banner for our championship leader. You can see him battling alongside of the 5. They're 3 wide off the corner.
And Trent Briley now up to the inside there of Knupp as they beaten the bang, and now he's on the outside coming around Barry. He's going to follow his tail around as Knupp looks to the inside, and it's going to be Swain and Winicki, though, with a little bit of a breakaway. Now, I have not seen 3 and 4 wide for that long a wrap. That was an entire lap where they were door to door.
It was some great action. I think what it has meant is Winicki and Swain able to somewhat be comfortable for the time being. Remember, end of lap 9, we will pack the field back up with our comp caution. Briley's now left out on the outside as Sean Winkler and Nicholas Dachelet force their way on through. The chopping and changing we've seen in this main event has been quite remarkable. Our biggest gainer is Matt Adams. He's +5 after starting at the back, making his way forward from one of our LCQs. Christopher Plumley's our biggest loser of the day, down 14. And at the very tail end of the field, back through turn 1, Winkler on the outside, Briley down low. In front of them, Nicholas Dachelet closing on Luke Knupp.
Yeah, Dachelet's got his sights set on there. Briley trying to look up the inside of Dachelet, and you can see right now Briley's, getting a little wide there. Dachelet's coming up the inside here. It's going to be interesting when they come into the gravel pit here, the maneuvering here. We've seen 2 or 3 wide there, but look at this. A lot of drivers using that slingshot coming out of the gravel pit.
Slingshot working nicely there for Briley to hold the inside to the final corner as we tick over to the 4th lap of this race. So inching closer and closer to that comp caution, but let's not forget as well, all our heats are LCQs 6 laps in length. This is a much longer race, and so the first time these drivers tonight have been challenged a little bit more. Cody Winicki's running a pretty perfect race right now. He's had a strong season, sits 6th in the championship coming into the night, and after this, 3 more rounds of the championship and 1 more Triple Crown format. So it's a good opportunity for some drivers to jump their way into victory lane, and a victory here for Cody Winicki would punch his ticket to the World Finals to the playoffs later on this year.
I can tell you right now, though, his focus is to win here at Crandon. Nothing else matters at this point. And it's going to be a rough one because everybody's going to stack it up like you talked about after lap number 9. And then you got Swain, Drapkin, Countryman, Barry, Knupp, Dachelet, Briley, Winkler, Prater. I mean, talk about some hungry dogs behind you. Mickelson, King. They're going to be a lot of footsteps chasing after you.
Connor Barry's been on the podium, I think, in every round of the season so far. He's going to head off to Wheatland next week to go racing at in the real world. It's in the real world because that's not on iRacing just yet. But we look forward to maybe it coming soon and hope to see Connor enjoy some success in his Pro Light entry on the outside. Slips up a little bit too much. He went too wide, opened the steering, lost too much momentum. And through turn 1, that Countryman tried to pinch him. It didn't quite work out. And so in those iRacing short course gloves, you can get your own at Mark1RacingGear.com. Connor Barry grabs himself 4th position as we get closer to that comp caution. So dangerous signs if you're in that front 3, but the fight back comes from Countryman.
I was going to say, Countryman with a beautiful move looking up the inside. So we look back from Luke Knupp's point of view back there in P6. Barry now tucks in behind Countryman there. Knupp very focused. You can see he's, just trying to look for a little daylight there. Look at the inside. Doesn't want to upset Barry, but he also wants to make a move. So he's going to have to wait for the right time. I think he's hoping that Barry's going to have his side on Countryman and just kind of leave a door open.
think some of these drivers, I was going to say, some of these drivers might be a bit too wise for that one. It's been a great fight, though, between these two. Knup's got a great view of all the action, but Barry's not having it all his own way. Remember, he's had 4 wins already this season in our 6 championship rounds. He needs to get the chrome horn out. He needs to force that countryman out of the way to hold on to 4th position. We'll have 2 more laps before that competition caution. I don't know if he's got time to close the margin up to Zachary Drapkin. Behind him, Luke Knupp forces his way on through, not hanging around. He can't afford to on his championship rival.
Yeah, getting my countryman there, and you can see now that Barry, he's got a little bit of breathing room, but here comes Luke Knupp. Talk about the crown horn. I'm going to say the golden CBR cone, as you see Connor has moved up position, but Connor's still not in the podium spot at this point, but this is that almost coming up on the halfway point. We're 8 laps in. Next time will be 9.
This has been an interesting race so far. Crazy start, settling in quite nicely, and I think the restart could be quite fun for us in the booth, maybe less fun for those behind the wheel, given the amount of contact I'm anticipating. But 1 more lap to go. Cody Winicki's been almost perfect since he was given the lead of this race and held on through some contact. Keaton Swain's not really closed the margin. Zach Drapkin might have Connor Barry to deal with down to the gravel pit to Calamity Corner for the final time before the comp caution.
And you can see Barry's going to try and make a move there. Before that happens, I'm going to see the gravel pit will be another setup. We've seen a lot of drivers trying to get that position to head into Calamity Corner. There's 2 great places to pass right there. Keaton Swain still looking at Winicki here, but here comes Barry, carrying a lot of speed, but Drapkin with a nice preferred line coming up. He just gets that speed off the Polaris Razor Leap into Calamity Corner. It's going to be Barry looking low, coming around. But I think Drapkin may get a little speed scrubbed off, and he does. And that should be the comp caution coming out.
Comp caution is out. We'll slow the race down. And Zachary Drapkin, not stern in his defense there, almost gifted Connor Barry that 3rd place. And so we'll restart in just a few moments. No cars a lap down, so it makes this cycle pretty quick. Left side of the screen, you can see the teams where they sit right now. Factory Sim Sports 2nd and 7th with Dashley and Swain. Channel 199 Sim Racing, 3rd and 13th. So Barry scoring well, Adams not so much. And Iridium Sim Sport 1st and 10th, so a pretty good day for them.
Yeah, talk about who's got some sweaty palms and the death grip on the steering wheel right now. Cody Winicki, I guarantee you got Keaton Swain, Connor Barry. Winicki, he's just got to just put it all out of his mind and run his race. That's all he's got to do. You know that Swain and Barry are going to be going door to door there. So the question is, will that allow Winicki to get a little breathing room? And then you got Drapkin breathing down like a dragon.
Remember, been a good season for Cody Winicki, and we might not even completely stop the cars. Off and away, we are getting ready to go. It'll be Cody Winicki in control of the field with Keaton Swain, and then Connor Barry trying to find their way forward back to the race lead. All 20 machines are stacked up once again. Winicki in control. When does his right foot decide it's time for us to go racing? He's got a couple of truck lengths of Keaton Swain, who's now opened the door for Connor Barry again. Excuse me, never mind. We're not back to racing just yet, I think. Hold off on that.
There it looked like something didn't go. I'm thinking that somebody broke the line before Winicki got on the gas.
Well, now Cody Winicki is sliding back in line. This...
You going to the pits? Did he... What?
He might have been given an iRacing penalty, potentially. And maybe that is why. That is not a driver that knows what's going on right now. Too slow is the word that I've been told. So he backed the field up too much on the restart, and so that's why he is dropping to the back of the pack.
Oh, talk about a gut punch. Oh, my goodness. That is a double-edged sword. When you're leading around there, you got to You know, you're trying to play games to throw the other drivers off, and then that happens. Ouch.
So close, flirted a little bit too close with the fire, and so now you gave him the nickname Mr. Dry Spell. Keaton Swain's got a golden opportunity to grab a victory here at Crandon. Off and away we go. Connor Barry in pursuit. Zach Drapkin, Luke Canup, and Thad Countryman the rest of the top 5. Down to the gravel pit, Drapkin on board. We sit with a Redline All 56 machine. Top 3 get through relatively unperturbed. The contact from Luke Canup sees him go to the outside on the run to Calamity Corner.
I think Keaton Swain's best friends could be Drapkin and Canut and Countryman right now, even Dashalet. They want to get up there into the mix. But look at this, Connor Berry already trying to move in the outside. He's going to switch it around, but Keaton keeps that tail in his nose. Now look at him trying to go to the inside again. But Swain, he's going to be pushed to the outside. Let's see how it's going to happen as we go by the barn.
He won
around under the Ponte. Ooh.
He won 3 to open up the season, did Connor Barry, before Drake Mittag and Matt Adams were able to steal wins of their own. Back to victory lane last time for the number 2. We've had a week away, let's not forget, but full focus on this particular event for all our drivers. We'll be back next week from Bark River International Raceway, another one of those flowing sort of a short course tracks, and then heading off to May, we'll have our final Triple Crown event at the Farbird Motorsports Park. Technical issues for Keaton Swain, hoping they don't cost him a race victory here.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. He's a little net code in there. Hopefully it stabilizes out for him there. Connor Berry, though, with a good line still, but Swain, he's a little bit faster in some sections, but I think Berry, coming up through the gravel pit and through Calamity Corner, usually catch up to him.
Luke Canup gets in front of Zachary Drapkin, by the way. That's important for him, although Drapkin fighting back, and you can see how much time they've lost to the top 2 as well. So, breakaway building with Swain and Barry. They're tripping over each other to the line. Countryman gets in front of Drapkin. Dashalet and Briley join the brawl as well. There comes the door-to-door, the shove from Drapkin. Not often that you see him get this physical, especially given he's already been involved in some race control investigations through the course of the season. But he holds on to 4th position for the time being. Swain and Barry, 4/10 between them up front.
Yeah, it sounded like he got the CSI after him from race control there. He's got a fine magnifying glass, and that is true. When you have had incidents, they will keep an eye on you a little bit more than normal. But, Drapkin doing a great race, holding on strong in 4th, and you know what? These 2 drivers can go. But look at this, Briley coming in hot there, a little bit of an accordion effect. Dashalet getting a little pounded there with Countryman, and Briley Prater trying to make his way up through the pack. He's up to 8th. As we go on board with Countryman.
5 laps to go, and so everyone knows closing stages of this race, it's very much do or die time. Make your moves, or it is not going to happen. And so for Connor Barry, I think this is a situation where he doesn't have to make the move, Dave, right? He's already in front of his main championship rival, Luke Canup. He's on the podium right now, but he's a racing driver. He wants the win. He wants the 2 points he could grab by being at the top step.
Yeah, and who doesn't want another medal? Oh, look at this. Look at the inside there. Little net code out by Swain. Seems to be in the same spots every time going across that stripe there. Fiberglass goes flying right now off of Swain from contact there. Little door rubbing there. You lean on the fenders a little bit. That's what they're for. That's why they're fiberglass. That's why they come off.
Maybe the little bit of net code actually is also going to make Barry a little bit more nervous. He doesn't want to get involved in anything as a result of something out of his control, and so sits behind through the gravel pit. He'll have 3 laps left to go. We jump on board with Trenton Briley. He tries the crisscross on Nicholas Dashalet. Works quite nicely. He slams the door shut, or tries to. Back up to the final corner. The 23 asserts its position on the inside. Mason Prater's there too. Sean Winkler, Dennis Mickelson in the fray. A couple of truck lengths behind as Briley throws it back up the inside. It's been a great race here at Crandon. I have to say, I said it wasn't the best layout, but the short course has shown plenty of good racing so far.
Oh, and I'll tell you, there's been battles all through the entire field right now, the little groups. You got Swain and Barry, then you got Canup and Drapkin and Countryman. You can now watch Mason Prater and Briley going out there. Dashalet, he gets in the mix. Briley looks to the inside and tries to make a pass, and I just saw Drapkin go to the outside. and moving inside dive coming around, trying to shut the door on him. But look at this. Oh my. Countryman with a beautiful line through there.
Nice little fight. I've got to say, Countryman's had a good day. Cody Winicki's had a pretty good day as well. There's been some names that have stood up to be counted here at Crandon, and maybe we'll do so as well when we return for our championship finale. We're getting ready, though, to head on to the final lap of the race and to the gravel pit for the penultimate time. Barry's showing his intent. He's showing that he's right there to Keaton Swain if any mistake is made. But could the dry spell be about to come to an end?
I'm not going to say anything. But it looks like Barry looking up the inside there. Briley really into protection mode right now, keeping that nose low. You know, Barry's got to lean on him a little bit, a little door-to-door contact. We've seen that through there. Barry trying to get up to the inside there to establish it. Barry going to go deep into the corner there. Will he be able to hold on to the speed there? Oh, contact with the wall with Swain.
Here we go. This was the inevitable. The move coming from the championship leader down to the gravel pit. Swain gives him the opportunity to slide it, but then gets a good exit off the corner initially. Barry's going to try around the outside through Calamity Corner. Great fight between two championship rivals through the years. Keaton Swain's not going to stand down. To the line. A photo finish. Who gets it? By thousands. It's Connor Barry that loses out.
No.
9,000ths of a second. It's been 1,150 days since Keaton Swain was last in victory lane, and he's done it once again here at Crandon.
Yeah, get the arc out. The flood is coming. He finally got it. Swain, pop the champagne, baby.
And even Connor Barry can't help but have a wry smile for that. 9,000ths at the line. My timing screen updated about 3 different times on who won that race, but it is Keaton Swain. The streak has officially come to an end. Connor Barry does, though, grab second in front of his main championship rival, Luke Canup, with Zachary Drapkin, and then Thad Countryman, the rest of the top 5. Nicholas Dashley, Mason Prater, Trenton Briley, Crystal King, and Sean Winkler, your top 10, and only covered by around 6.5 seconds. What a fantastic race here at Crandon. Grady, Mickelson, Winicki, heartbreak for him, but he'll bounce back in that Impact Sim Sports number 9 and be better than ever for the rest of the season. Plumley 14th, Jeffrey 15th, with Miller, Adams, Shattuck, Noble, and Smith, the top 20. I don't think we want to hang around on this one. Let's head down to victory lane. Dave Arnold standing by with Keaton Swain, race winner once again.
Oh my goodness, Keaton Swain, we can't call you the dry spell for anymore. The floodgates have opened. You took the win. The monkey is off your back.
Yeah, that one feels good. I definitely didn't have the fastest truck out there, and luckily Connor, he races clean every race, and I think he's a little bit in championship mode, so I knew he wasn't going to risk himself or do anything too dumb there, and I honestly thought he got me there. I kind of tried to shove him out, but I couldn't get my truck to turn, and luckily he just got just enough drive off to beat him to the line. But that was a pretty awesome race, and obviously I'm not sure what happened there at the mandatory, but kind of got handed a gift, so just happy to take advantage of it, and finally get this one off my back here.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I mean, watching on the right when the white flag was going to come up, he had that inside move starting to squeeze you out. You fought him off. And then you guys were door to door, and then you tagged the wall. I can imagine how you felt.
Yeah, once I got into the wall there, I knew it stalled me out a little bit. And, like last race 2 in the dry slick, I know Connor's really good, so I knew I was going to have to try and pull something to pull this one off. And, luckily I was able to do so. But it was a crazy race for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You have a lot of work cut out for it now. Put your head down and think of the next one. That's for sure. Now that this is behind you, it won't hang over your head. And I know there's so many people behind you that make this possible.
Yeah, definitely. I got to thank everyone at Sim Coaches, everyone on my team that helps out every week. And, obviously everyone helps out Connor's league too. None of this would be possible without all his sponsors and all the work he puts in. And of course, you guys for doing the broadcast. Hopefully that was a good race. I'm looking forward to rewatching that one and seeing how it went.
Well, Keaton Swain, the monkey's off his back. Oh boy, he could wipe the sweat off his brow. takes P1 here at Crandon Short Course. And I believe Arjuno is standing by with Connor Barry.
Let's have a chat with Connor Barry. It was 9 thousandths between you and Keaton Swain. Connor, I saw the smile on your face after the race. I think you were also happy for Keaton that he won, but what was going through your mind through that final corner, all the contact on the run to the checkered?
That was like so much fun. It was so close. Like I really didn't like. I was not really aware on who got first because it took us a bit because it took us until we got through turn 1 and then I saw it, and that was one heck of a battle, and that was fun. I'm so pumped on that. I came up short, but it's okay. Swain Swain is good, and I'm glad that he was able to go out there and win. It has been a bit for him, so I'm glad that he was able to go out there and win again, and I'm glad that I was the one to be there. So it definitely was fun, and it's going to be a good show.
Let's talk championship. You came into this round 47 points clear of everyone else. So you're getting to that stage where you could be mathematically secure in the championship before the final round of the season. What's the plan for the remaining couple of rounds? What do you need to do to fend off the rest of the pack chasing you down?
Until we get to Crandon, my goal is to go and win. It can change fast, and I'm definitely aware of it, but my goal right now is still to go out there and win because it can change quickly. Like on that start, I think I fell back to I think 8th or something. So it can change fast. So my goal still is to go out there and win. And once we get to Crandon, we might be able to play it safe. But until then, we are going to go for wins here.
Another solo round for you, Connor, in your Channel 199 sim racing machine. Best of luck this weekend in the real world as well. We'll see you next week as we roll on once again in the iRacing Pro Force Short Course National Series.
Thanks, guys.
So Connor Barry joins us. Next up, Luke Canup standing by with Dave Arnold.
Luke, talk about a hard fought third place, that's for sure. It's been a rough season already. I mean, you're sitting second in points, so I know every position matters, but, just the battle trying to get up there with Drapkin and Countryman was just gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, never stoked to get a third, but we'll take it after the season we've had. It's been consistent and quiet, but nothing sparky like last season, so we're going to put our all into the last 3 races of the season and hopefully turn these results around. But like you were saying, the battle for third was gnarly. The whole race was kind of gnarly. It's like a whole sprint race. It's 20 laps, but you have no time to breathe at this track. It's corner into another corner, and so it's fun and gnarly, but stoked to get a third out of it. Regroup pretty well after a pretty poor qualifying effort.
Well, yeah, it's always fighting back there. Talk about the battle you had, with Drapkin, coming around there, because he was really trying to fill the spots. And were your sights set, okay, I got to get up to Connor, I got to get by Drapkin for points?
I knew I was a tick better than Zach. I knew I was a tick slower than Connor and Keaton, so I wanted to get by Zach as fast as I could to try to get, somewhat of a chance, but those two never battled enough to give me some time up there. And Zach and I raced pretty hard, but we raced really hard and clean. So I'm happy to have a good hard race for third, and no feelings lost.
Well, congratulations. It was a hard fought third podium, that's for sure. And that's what the story's been all season for you. And I know you keep your head down and keep forward. And I'm sorry I missed you out at the Legacy race this week, and I saw Travis.
Yeah, I had a little bit of better night tonight than we did at the Legacy race. So
yeah,
stoked from the results still either way, and just can't thank APV Simulators enough for all they do for me and my whole team, Team Gold Esports. Thad had a top 5, and Trenton was up there in the top 10. Same with Tyler. So solid night for us, and Impact Safety for all they do, Luke Canup Racing, and everyone else. Thank you guys.
Congratulations, Luke Canup, with a hard fought podium final position there. So another great night, Arjuno.
And the streak officially broken. It was 1,159 days. So I was 9 days off, but close enough. Close enough. And next up, we get to head back out to what should be a fun run, to the Bark River International Raceway, all 1.5 miles in the rolling hills of Michigan, April 23rd, 9 p.m. Eastern. Same place, the iRacing short course channels. Join us for all of this. And we have just 3 rounds left to go. We're into the business end of the season here, Dave.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a hard-fought one for sure. Connor Berry, can he keep this streak going, or can Keaton Swain come out and maybe get another win out of it? But Luke Knupp still fighting back in second in points. And
that fight for second might end up being quite close, given that Keaton Swain's reinserted himself into victory lane. 1,159 days since he last won. It's Swain on top once again as we say goodbye to you from Crandon. We'll see you next week from Bark River International Raceway. Once again, reigning supreme, Connor Barry, the 3-time iRacing Short Course National Series champion.
One thing I would like to tell my competitors is the job is not done yet.
You can see that Luke Knupp wants to end the season on a high, did not want the fight to end like this.
Second place in the championship, but that's not over yet.
But the championship leaders banging and rubbing doors on the run towards the line. Oh. Connor Barry tried everything. Experience from the real world to the virtual as well, because then Dashley makes a mistake.
It's going to be a new Dashlette this year, so hopefully this means that I'll be running up front more.
And history made! Team Gold and Briley on top.
One thing I'd like to tell all the competitors for 2025 is watch out, Team Gold's coming.
The 2-year wait for victory lane may continue for Keaton Swain.
Winning is important. I show up to win, so obviously winning is everything.